All right, welcome into the PopCulture PileDriver. I am Jason Rossi. You can find me on the Twitter machine at Jason D Rossi. And with me, as always, is my tag team partner in the podcast sphere and streaming sphere. Come on, baby. It's 2020. Finally, we're here. His name is Billy D. He goes by Gizmo and also at Billy D 2411. What's going on, Bill?
Hello, which is what I made my opener a while ago, and it's a JD thing, so fitting that we are doing the top 11 Podcasters Dozen Best to Scrubs episodes.
That's damn right. It's been a long time coming. It's been a discussion, I think a show that we mutually agree upon for a long time. We'll get into the legacy of this show, but yeah, we're going to talk top 11 Scrubs episodes. But before we talk any further, make sure you hop on the train here. Get addicted to the content. Make sure you subscribe. If you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe there. If you're listening to us, you can subscribe on YouTube at PopCulture PileDriver. We'll send out plenty of links. If you're looking for us on the old
Twitter machine,
you can follow us at PopCulture PD. We can also be found on iTunes and PopCulture PileDriver, Spotify, Google Play, Podomatic, wherever you get your podcast. You can now search PopCulture PileDriver. I've had a real hard time saying that.
SoundCloud album, right?
Oh, I think we are. We're going to drop some SoundCloud. We'll probably put together a Spotify playlist sooner or later. But again, yeah, follow us on Twitter at PopCulturePD. We can, he's at Billy D 2411. I'm at Jason D Rossi. We'll get the Instagram going sooner or later. But again, yeah, most important, iTunes. Give us a subscribe. Leave us a 5-star review. We'd really appreciate it. It would go a long way. And on YouTube, if you're watching us now or watching this in the future, please hit subscribe. You can smash that like button. Give us a little bit of love. We would really, really appreciate it. So, yeah, Scrubs. It was a show that ran from 2001 till 2010. But if you ask most, it ended in 2009.
Oh, yeah. Season 9. There's spoiler alert. Nothing from Season 9 on this list. Maybe nothing from Season 8. We'll get to it.
Yeah,
maybe nothing from Season 7. I don't know. I have to look at the list again. But
in
doing the
research,
maybe, yeah. There were a couple that I liked in Season 7. Even in Season 8, there were some okay ones. I rewatch this all the time. Like you say, this is one of my falling asleep shows, or put it on the background, do some graphics. Yep. It's on right behind me right now. One of my favorite scenes in the whole show, and he's just dancing after he breaks up with whatever her name is, Tara Reid's character,
yes,
Danny.
Yes,
Dr. Cox's sister-in-law, Jordan's sister. An amazing show, pretty good run. Is it one of my top 5? It's definitely one of my top 5 favorite comedies of all time. I'd put it right behind Seinfeld.
Hold on, before you start throwing out the numbers, let's talk about it, because I think the more you get nostalgic about the episodes, I think you're gonna, you are very, hyper Billy. So I think, your recency bias may change as we go along. But let's
because I rewatched all of the ones minus 1 or 2 that I know cold for this episode within the last 36 hours.
So it's funny. I was trying to watch them, but I've dimmed my television in my bedroom so much because I've been, now that our child is no longer in our bedroom, it's just so bright and now lights affect. So I try to dim it, but it's really hard to watch TV when it's super dark. I'm just letting everybody know. So that's when I usually end up going to WWE Network. But nonetheless, let's jump in, Bill, before we get to the big stuff, the big topic of the day. Let's talk about some news. First, sad stuff. Actor, comedian Jerry Stiller has passed away due to natural causes, which I don't think you could ask for anything better. But passed away.
92 years old.
I know, 92. I was actually shocked that I don't know if I was shocked that he was that old now or if he was that old during Seinfeld.
Well, he had to be in his 60s in Seinfeld, right? Maybe mid to late 60s. An amazing actor, comedic genius. I put out a little video. You can check it out on the PopCulture PileDriver, paying homage to his unbelievable career. He was one of the great TV sitcom actors. We talked about him in the Hefferton show with Just Shoot Me, Can't Hardly Wait, King of Queens. Whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah.
Arthur Spooner. But I mean, he was legendary as Frank Costanza. Some of the great moments in Seinfeld history. Probably the most iconic episode of all time is the Festivus episode. At least that's one of the main standouts in his catalog. And he just made such a mark on that show. He's an amazing character in the history of TV. We didn't give him top TV dads, the top 11, but I think that's because he's a little bit bigger than a TV dad. He was always doing crazy stuff with Kramer, and he just had so many monumental episodes in the history of that show.
Yeah, I think he was big. Like, he is, we were talking about maybe a future episode about like Seinfeld side characters. And, without getting too deep into it, I was actually, my dad's a huge Seinfeld guy. And I said, outside of the main four, this is like a Beatles thing, a lot of Beatles references within Seinfeld. But who was like the fifth guy?
Who was the Billy Preston?
Yeah, who's the Billy Preston or whoever you want to include for if you want to go with like Billy Epstein, the producer and stuff. But who was like that fifth person when it comes to Seinfeld? And off the top of my head, I got to go with George.
I think he's better than Newman. Newman's good. He is jolly, of course. No, merry. He is merry. I think I got to give it to him. I do love some Kenny Bania, but he's not even close. I think it's got to be him.
See, I was thinking the only other person, I didn't even think Kenny, but I was thinking the only other person's like Putty. Putty has a chance because Putty is, but he's
in like 8 episodes, maybe less.
Well, didn't we find out Frank Costanza was only in like what,
15%? I think I think Mac did the math on that.
Yeah. Oh, shout out happy birthday to Mac, by the way.
Oh yeah, Mac, happy birthday, sir. I play him in our little Madden League coming up soon. I'm gonna get smoked. But yeah, a top television, standout side character, and we're gonna get to plenty of side characters when we talk about Scrubs, because that had a lot of, and this is where this show took a little bit of time to get into it. This is kind of why I like New Girl so much, because it found that like weirdness spot right away and kind of stuck to it. Scrubs took a little while to be like, all right, we're gonna play to these ridiculous characters all the time, because Snoop Dogg attending is in the first season as like a background guy walking around. Oh, is that Frank in the chat? Oh, it's Frank Lefty.
So the one thing we'll get to the characters, I guess. Well, we'll roll into this, but obviously sad for the passing of Jerry Stiller, who just incredible. And almost, I know this sounds weird, but you almost think of him as Ben Stiller's dad, like the last thing I thought about him. It was
the first thing I thought of, actually.
For me, I was like, oh yeah, man, Frank Costanza's dad, Arthur Spooner. Oh, what, he's so funny in all these movies. And I'm like, holy crap, he's freaking Ben Stiller's dad. Like, that's just, sad time.
Other than Heavyweights, though, I don't really remember him from much, right?
Who, Jerry Stiller or?
Ben Stiller, I fucking know from everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jerry Stiller.
He was really good in Zoolander.
Oh, yes, that's true. Yeah, he had the bad prostate. Just give me a little jingle.
Yeah, he's always in Ben Stiller movies as like offside characters. Mm-hmm. So, but Heavyweights, he's fantastic in. Yeah, so Jerry Stiller, and he did a lot with the Ed Sullivan Show going way back in time, when he really? First was. Yeah, him and his wife in Ben Stiller's mother, they were one of the few people that had recurring roles as comedians on, the Ed Sullivan Show. And this isn't like today where there's 15 night shows. That was it. This was before Johnny Carson. This is the OG. So had a real big impact then. Bill, also in the news, Kurt Cobain. I don't know if you've heard of him.
He's dead.
He's dead. He's not coming back. There's no.
He's wicked dead.
He's beyond dead. His guitar from the MTV Unplugged is going up for auction in the middle of
$3 million.
In the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah.
For starting bid, $1 million.
Yeah, that's reasonable. I'm not even kidding. I would have said more. I almost bought a pair of $300 sneakers last night, and I was like, "What am I doing? I can't even wear them out."
Too.
Yeah, they are. Not the ones that were just released, but a little bit older ones that are harder to find.
Of course.
But
did you win a raffle?
No, I did win a raffle for a recent pair, but then I was thinking, where am I going to freaking wear these? Like, I'm going to be in this house for 18 months.
Yeah,
I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to stop ordering shit.
So Kurt Cobain, again, for a $1 million, you're guessing around $3 million it will probably go for?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say probably around 3.5. And I wonder if it's going to be a rock historian, like some sort of like Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or something like that, that we'll get it. But so I guess, aside from your sneakers, what would you say is your most prized possession?
My most prized possession? Ooh, I would probably say my Theragun. That thing is a lifesaver. I love that. I don't have anything of like sentimental value, really. This hat. I saw it. I upgraded from the old one. I can pick it up right here. It was in some pretty bad shape. But if you know me for a long time, you'll know that this is a standard of the Billy D collection. And I'm 36 years old. Why wouldn't I want a 10-year-old trucker hat? So I figured I'd go out and find it on the internet in my downtime, and I did.
And what's the brand on that hat? We can give him a shout.
Hurley.
That's what I thought it was. Okay, I was just making sure. So you used to be a skateboarder right there.
Yeah. Well, I was never a skateboarder. I hung out with kids who did skateboard. By the way, great little comment here from Lefty in the chat saying he when he shoots, he goes Cobain because he hit his last shot.
He sure did. Didn't miss. It was swish. It was a shotgun to the mouth too. A lot of
you might be able to say Courtney Love too, because some people think she did it, right?
Yeah, but I think that's a little bit hard. But anyways, so then we get for my most prized possession, I would say I have to
Your
go with
son.
That's a little different. I think that goes without saying. My house, that you duh. But I would say actually I have a guitar that's signed by Jimmy Eat World, who's one of my favorite bands. And all of them signed them one time when I met them. So I think that's probably like my close to most prized possession. Because I was trying to think of like wrestling events if I have it. Like I have a bunch of chairs, but like meh, like those are cool, but nothing like that next level. So
Yeah, like if the house was on fire and you have to grab one thing, I might grab my PlayStation.
honestly, that's the hard part. I'd probably get my
Xbox,
my Switch,
your son,
my son in that order.
Courtney.
No, she's an adult. She can get out of the house.
She's got 2 legs. It's true.
Yeah, she'll be fine. And if she's in trouble, I'll go back for her if we need to. But all right, let's get into it. So Scrubs, we're going to talk top 11. But before we get there, we are going to do a 3 count. If this is your first time having a pop culture pile driver 3 count, I picked 3 things. Billy picked 3 things. And the topic today is Scrubs side characters.
A little, what do they call it? A amuse-bouche? Little appetizer here? When you whistle?
Amuse-bouche? Is that French?
I don't know. I just know it's something. Maybe it's a palate cleanser. Is that what an amuse-bouche is? I don't know. Anybody in the chat can help us out.
It's a ginger.
There.
It's like eating ginger when you have sushi. You got to clear the palate before the next one. But
so you picked
Phil,
like main side. No, you go first because I think you picked main side characters. I picked like side characters.
All right, now we're getting into who's bigger fan, but you are. But I guess I would say when I think of the main cast, and let me know if you agree with this. Here's who I think of the main cast is: JD, Turk, Elliot, Carla, Dr. Cox, Dr. Kelso, Janitor.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't disagree.
Those who I think are like, I think that's the main like core of the show, and then everybody else I think is like a player in the side cast.
I would 100% concur with that statement. But I do think there's a tiers level of the side characters.
Yeah, I think I took 2 high B, maybe B plus out of the tier where you took a little.
And I'm totally fine with that. I just picked mine out of the hilarity of them, more so as the mainstay side ones. You know what I mean?
Sure. And I guess I just went with guys that made me laugh. So I'll kick it off with my first one.
That was a nice convincing sure, by the way.
Yeah. It's just it's a segue, sure. My first one will have to go with the Todd. Todd to me was a Seal Steiner from the beginning of the show.
Or
Todd
was scene stealer.
That as well. He steals scenes and scenes steal him as well. But he was noted as a surgeon who works obviously at Sacred Heart. And despite his immature, I love this description, perverse and jock-like disposition, he's known to be a talented and knowledgeable surgeon. And if that doesn't sum up Scrubs in a whole, and we'll get to the show, like in this character, I don't know what does. But the thing I love most about the Todd was not only the high fives and having names for them, but also was his incredible sexual innuendos to literally everything. I used to steal half of his lines all the time in conversation.
Oh, and he knows when to go after those moments. I was watching one of the episodes today where he's like, it's a lot of hard work. You know, people think these things just happen. I wait for them. Yeah. Like, I'm thinking about an episode. Italian sausage. Large Italian sausage, right.
I believe there was an episode, I think it was Their Story 2, don't quote me, when he actually is like preparing one of them, and there was like a sentimental scene, which Scrubs always did. Always when you're about to hit like really emotional points, like had a great balance. But I think it was Their Story 2, where he's like preparing a joke in his head. He's like, all right, like I've just been waiting to use this one. Like whether it's like, I'll plug her sewer or something like that. And then like something emotional happens.
In your end up.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like,
I think that might have been the one.
Might have been. But anyways, what's your number one? If you are, you can talk more.
Well, just a quick Todd side note. I just tried to go to the toddtime.com, long on and thank me later. It's not launching right now, but I think when you did it, me and one of a friend of the podcast, Pachi, logged on right as he said it, and it was him just jumping rope in his banana hammock. That's another thing that he brought was the banana hammocks. And him and his they flashed forward to him with his son, and his son didn't want to wear the banana hammock. Just great stuff with the Todd.
Flash, yeah. Oh. And doesn't he have, what is it, Doc on his arm? Doesn't he have like a tattoo?
Yep. And then he's debating whether or not he should poo first or work out, and then he shits himself while he's benching stuff. I'm going to go with a little bit of a curveball. I switched this one from one of the guys I had originally, but I'm going to go with Dr. Beard for Say, damn it.
Oh.
I just love that's one of my favorite recurring jokes, and I love a good running gag. And, you know, it's Beard for Say, damn it, and like they're flicking little macaronis into him. He's a little bit better than Colonel Doctor, on the tiers of those, like, Dr. Mickhead, I'd go Beard Fassay, damn it, Colonel Dr. Mickhead, and then
Dr. Mickhead.
That was just the great thing about Scrubs, and they really embraced it later on, like with Snoop Dogg intern, and then he's like, whoa, now it's Snoop Dogg attending. Yeah. I forget, what was the guy with the hook hand who bangs Gloria? It's like Vance or Lance. Yeah. That is just an amazing thing. And I think at one point in the episode that they try to convince Todd that he's gay. They're like, did you have sex with the Todd? Is that the big security guard with the hook for a hand and an afro? No. Okay. Yeah. Like, just amazing stuff. Leonard. Yeah.
That's the name. Thanks for it, Lefty.
Oh, on top of it. I love it. The security guard. Just an amazing side character, and like those levels of the different doctors.
Yeah. All right, so my number 2, this is like probably as main of the side character. I think Todd and this guy are like the 2, and obviously one of the heavy hearts that we go into this and probably kicked off this. But you got to go with Ted. The best thing about Ted, I think, honestly, is
that he was like our age when he was on the show, and he looked like he was 100.
He looked like he's like Steve Martin-esque. He always looked probably 20 years older. Yeah, he was 35 years old when the show started. That's insane. But unfortunately, obviously, in real life, Sam Lloyd, who portrayed the character, passed away. I think it was about a week ago now. Mm-hmm. But we'll get to a little more about him. But he was just, I think my favorite thing about him was that he was the lawyer. And the reason is, like, I think that slips your mind in later episodes. In the beginning of the show, it was all about, like, he would come in and have people sign paperwork. I think it was JD gets stuck with a needle, and he comes in and right after Dr. Kelso basically tells JD, like, you're not going to be able to sue. Ted, just get him to sign the papers. And he's like about to like go in this whole spiel, but he's like, I just want to kill that man and then kill myself. He's like, and then JD's like, yeah, just give me the papers.
In the early run, Ted always wanted to kill himself. And then he became more of a little like funnier character as the seasons went on. The a cappella group, the Worthless Peons, just absolutely amazing. Homegirl gonna get paid. I was just gonna reference this that Frank brought up. Homegirl, like it's one of my favorite episodes, and we will reference it. But like a woman trips and falls running out of the room because it was the first time somebody was doing a procedure, and they were like, and Dr. Kelso goes, and because Ted's our lawyer, what's gonna happen? Homegirl gonna get paid. Like, he knows he's a terrible lawyer. Like, people are telling him like lawyer terms. He's like, oh, that's a good idea. Like, he's just one of the all-time, I'm gonna hyperbole again, but like, he really is an all-time great like side sitcom character.
Oh, without a doubt. And he could have, if they pushed him a little further, they could have pushed his character. Like, if they, God forbid, Janitor didn't re-up or did something, like, he wouldn't have fit the same character, but he could have been pushed and been in more episodes and more screen time. And I don't think it would have harmed him. As you said, he started off as like you said, a suicidal,
just
miserable
a Steel Town girl on a Saturday night looking for the fight of his life.
Then the best part about him, then when he has the a cappella group to the bands, and the sad thing is now, like, there's such good tributes out there where obviously he's saying Somewhere Over the Rainbow in one of the episodes. I can't remember the name.
The janitor's, not the janitor's wedding episode. It was
it was the one where they're all in the hospital at the end.
And fighting for the transplant of the kid's heart. Yes.
But anyway, that episode, and it was just so sentimental. And he's singing with the guys up on the roof. What was that called? Not the Trust Circle. The Trust Circle's different.
The Worthless Peons. No, it was the Brain Trust.
But that was the name of the band?
The Worthless Peons. Yeah, because he's like, you're a worthless peon. Yeah. You'll always be a worthless peon. That's the name of our band.
Yeah, Dr. Kelso's like, that's the name of our band. What's his name? Trying to Leave. But yeah, so Ted to me is definitely one of the best side characters. So Billy, who's your number 2?
My number 2 would be Hooch.
Oh,
love Hooch.
God. You know who's crazy.
Hooch is crazy. And they team him up with Turner and Hooch. Who's doing the surgery? Turner and Hooch. And when he becomes the new brown bear, and he turns out to be legitimately crazy.
He says, he goes, I really am crazy.
I love when he comes out, though, and like who put bouillon cubes in the shower head? Just a hilarious like little side character. And they always drop in the Hooch references. Like, afterwards, we're going to go pick up some Hooch. And he's like, yeah, JD? Oh, no. They're just talking about the drink, Hooch. Okay. Because it seems like you could have just said, beer. But just a great little side character. He's not featured in many episodes, but when he is, he's a little bit of a scene stealer.
And he's another great one that, like, early on had a lot of side appearances here and there. And then you started to see him develop a little bit at the very end of the show. They brought him back when they, during the finale stuff. And that's when, like, the Hooch I really am crazy. That stuff. That's great. So for me, my number 3 will be Lloyd. Lloyd, I think, has the best character face in the whole show. I don't know what is just that, like that frumpy face. I can't even do it. But Lloyd was the ambulance driver who used to be a delivery man. Who he's also in the Brain Trust, by the way. Just incredible character. He started becoming like more of a shenanigans guy with the janitor at one point, and I loved Lloyd. I just always appreciate he was really like the last probably 3.5 seasons. They really started to show a little more of him.
Because he was featured in a couple of early episodes where like he came in to like sign something for Carla. And like,
he's the delivery guy.
Yeah. But then when he joins the air band, hey, Lloyd, how's your drug problem? 3 days sober. Like he's just a great little side character to sprinkle in here or there. Gotta love Lloyd, and the air banding, as we'll get to, one of the greatest,
Oh my God.
Just one of the most brilliant ideas in a sitcom ever, and they crushed that friggin' episode. Well, no, spoiler alert, that one's definitely on the list. My number 3, he's been there since the beginning. He's a great little side character, has a terrible tan. It is Doug. I forget his last name. I don't even know if he has one, but he is amazing. He's such a bad doctor that he became a great coroner because he knows how everybody fucking dies.
The evolution of that was in the first 6 episodes, I believe, that all like that storyline. And he
no, it takes a long time. He becomes an attending at one point. No, he's an attending in like season 2.
Oh, I thought that all happened in the first season. But either way, Doug was fantastic. Yeah, he killed patients, by the way. He had 2 patients that died, and then they always ask like, hey, like when they were like, he was part of the clique there for like a little bit, like, how's everyone's day? And Doug be like, well, I only killed 2 people today. And it's like an accomplishment. And they're like,
well, when he first comes down there, he's like upstairs. They called this one a Doug when he's like looking at the coroner's thing. He's like dragging dead bodies around the hospital.
He really was, and he was a guy I actually was surprised how little he was in after like season 3, or they kind of took him kind of out of the mainstay. And I think the actor also was, I think he was a writer or he had some other background on the show. I know that.
Well, I know a lot of the people that were on the show like eventually got into like directing and writing some of the episodes too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
and as Lefty 519 points out, I think it was season 3. JD drafts him when him and Elliot are chief residents.
Oh, that's right. That's good stuff. All right. So that is our 3 count of characters. Again, I went with the Todd, I went with Ted, and I went with Lloyd. Billy,
I got Doug, Beard for Say Damn It, and Hooch.
So now, Bill, it's a main event. It is time to get into why we all are here. It is the top 11 Scrubs episodes of all time. This is going to be the only list you'll ever need to know. And one thing about us when we do top 11s, Bill, what do? We do no honorable mentions. So let's kick it off.
We do a ton of honorable mentions.
So let's kick it off.
We have more honorable mentions than like things on the list.
So let's kick it off with some honorable mentions. You're probably, these are more your picks, but if you want to just quickly run through some of the honorable mentions.
I'm having tough time popping it up. So
I will let you know what they are.
So let me know what they are.
All right. Season 3, episode 11, My Clean Break.
Oh, this is the one behind me.
Yes.
Basically, it's just for this dance. There's a lot of good stuff in this episode, but that is the thing that I take away the most. I just love this dance.
And I also would say that, and you noted this in some notes that we had before the show, the Dr. Cox speaking with his son, like the actual, like the way he spoke
you think it's
to
his
him?
Therapist the whole time? But it's actually his son, and that's why he's mellowed out and been like such a changed man. But even though they go back in like later seasons, he's still a fucking maniac. He dumps fucking spaghetti on his child in one of my other favorite episodes.
Oh my God, just ridiculous.
But those were like, especially the first time they switched it up from JD's voice, some of those episodes were really good. Like that was a really good one. Some of them kind of sucked. Like I didn't like a lot of the Carla ones, or where they did like a bunch of the side character ones. And they keep it to JD, and every once in a while a Cox, maybe a Turk here and there.
Who doesn't love a cock? But I will say I did really like her story and their story when it was the one where it was Todd, Ted, and Jandor had his own one as well. I can't remember who the third one, and the second their story was really good, but that's just the way I liked it. All right. So another honorable mention, season 4, episode 13, oh my God, I can't even say this. Why can't I? We'll go with or cardinal infection.
Or cardial infection.
Thank you. Wow. Can't read and can't write. You got anything about that one, Bill?
Oh yeah, hang on one second.
This is the acapella group, by the way. This is
the one where like Todd's band is challenged by the janitor's band, and all of a sudden they realize that the other janitor can like do the bop 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 baran bop 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 baran, and like when like he's like he says I'm not ashamed to say that we're probably the best hospital band, and then you hear Ted's band go, oh really? And it's the janitor basically just trying to cover up that he was trying to date Elliot in the episode.
Yes.
Just one of my favorite little storylines in all of Scrubs, that the janitor, Elliot, blonde doctor.
Yeah, that was another thing about the janitor. Obviously, we put him main character. I loved how the names he had for people, because he didn't know anybody. He knew nobody's name. Like, you would find that out slowly.
Well, you didn't know the janitor's name.
Well, that was the whole... And we never found out, I don't believe.
Well, he kind of hints about it in one of the episodes. I've been called a great many things in my life. And I think one of them is Sean. So I think that's like his actual name. But at certain points, I think when JD like has to tell him he has the thing on his penis because he saw him through the window, he's like, "Listen, janitor," like, and nobody knows this, but it just says it on his shirt.
Yeah, but I also just like how janitor didn't know other people's names either. I think that was like the funniest part of the gag. It was like blonde
Pimpleton,
doctor.
by the way, is the name of the a cappella group in this for the janitor.
Oh, that's right. All right, so another honorable mention.
It's Josh. I've been called a great many things, including Josh. Wow, we should have had this kid on the podcast.
Well, that's why he's here for the comments. All right, next honorable mention, season 5, episode 1, My Intern's Eyes.
This is the first like thing of Keith, and he's got like the little bangs. They always had. I think, was this season 5, episode 1? You said, or 2?
Episode 1. This is the season premiere.
Okay, so do my notes have like this is the one with the driving sock?
This is the driving sock. This is Elliot, both jobs, and man card. That was a great part.
Unbelievable.
Voice.
Dynamite lettering. Have you ever done calligraphy? And he takes one of the man cards back. But Keith, another underrated side character, just from the fact that like he sets up so much between Elliot and JD. They always had good season premieres. They never really let you down with the season premiere. This was no exception. This is the return of Johnny the Tackling Alzheimer's patient. Yeah, I got it there.
Alzheimer's. Okay, next honorable mention. The latest, I think, episode that we'll mention potentially. Actually, no, it's second latest. Season 8, episode 15, My Soul on Fire, part 2. This is the janitor's wedding, the Bahama Mama.
That's the only reason that this is in this, because he wakes up in the thing, another Bahama Mama. Whenever I go on vacation to a tropical island, brag, I love just ordering Bahama Mamas, thinking I'm Bob Kelso, just sitting there.
It's funny, when me and my wife last year went to Aruba, that was one of the things I would do. There's 2 things I reference now when I go on vacation. One, from How I Met Your Mother, the final season with Lily with Linus. She basically had a personal bartender. Every time she smashed a drink or was empty, he'd refill it. It's called like the President's Package. So I always think of that. And then I always think of the Bahama Mama with Dr. Kelso. Every time, just Bahama Mama, another Bahama Mama. And then there's the part where like there was I think, who was fighting in that? Is it Dr. Cox and his wife or somebody? And he just is there drunk off his ass. Sitting at the bar, and and another one of those sentimental moments. The last few,
and that's where you also get Todd's acapella band singing "Outcast."
Kennedy package. Thank you.
Great. I love, and they do the thing with the Brady Bunch and the little tiki things that are cursed.
So a few last honorable mentions, then we'll get into it. My Own American Girl. For me, this is one of my favorite episodes. This was the breakout transition of Elliot, where she was basically kind of pushed around for the first, I don't know what season this was off the top of my head. I want to say it was 4, but I'm not even going to pretend. And I'm sure someone in the comment section is about to light me up. But he was just that scene at the end where, Tom Petty's song playing. That's another thing about Scrubs, and we'll get into it, how music.
Their music was ridiculous. And the thing that sucks about it now, when it's rebroadcast on like Hulu, they take it all out for the most part.
Yeah,
and they put in
that?
ridiculous, terrible music. Luckily, I have them all on my computer saved originally, so I'm good.
Yeah, good thing you mentioned that to me, because some episodes, you're right, they're just stripped right out of there. But for this episode on Hulu, it's still there. It's called My Own American Girl. The thing I liked about it was that was such a pivotal scene, but that's what they named the episode. So it's not, you can tell they definitely didn't name these episodes before. They definitely named them thereafter, which I think Bill Lawrence talked about.
Once Elliot changes her look, there's so many good jokes about it. I remember one time, the clown. You don't look like a clown, but you look like a hooker that caters exclusively to clowns. And I think in that episode or the next one, and I'm paraphrasing here, but Kelso goes, "Now you may have a fancy new haircut and a boyfriend that smells vaguely like my tackle box." I mean, we'll get to
that was Sean.
Oh, yes. And Sean's a pretty good boyfriend. You kind of hate all of Elliot's boyfriends, and I think they do a nice job of designing it that way to like make you like JD a little bit more. I mean, Nurse Paul Flowers might be one of the worst characters in the history of the show. I fucking hated that kid. Who was he as a child actor? Like, he just had such a punch. He had the most punchable face ever.
It was the kid from Silver Spoons. I know
that.
Oh,
God, yes. He's fucking so... He has like the worst face ever.
Ben something, I believe. My last one for honorable mentions was my finale. It was a 2-part finale episode.
They did crush the finale.
They did an awesome job, but guess what? They did another season after it.
No. We don't. It's like the season 4 Community. It's the gas leak year. Nobody remembers it.
Okay.
Didn't happen.
So anyways, but I thought the finale was such a nice touch. The flashbacks to all the characters, them walking out of JD with that monologue at the end, walking out of Sacred Heart, just beautifully done, well touched. Whether you've seen every episode, 3 episodes, or only watch that episode, that finale is one of the better ones of all time. But then, like we said, unfortunately, whether we want to say it or not, the show got picked up by ABC.
I don't know why. I think the show got picked up by ABC 2 seasons before that.
Yeah, actually. I'm sorry, but they picked up another season.
That was a show that could have ended after season, realistically, 6.
Yeah,
6. I mean, there's a lot of great season 6 episodes. I think doing this, I found out 5 is definitely my favorite season.
Yes. Okay. I want to talk about that in a little bit, but I found that season 5 and 6, I think, are just excellent, and you don't get that a lot in a ton of comedies. Usually, people say those first few seasons of comedies are like the best, but because luckily when they made their main character JD a little more goofy, it worked. It played to his character better than any other show. Like, as Ted Mosby gets weirder and weirder, it doesn't work as well, but he is such a good goofy guy, and he's kind of always had that in his repertoire. And another good point out here by Lefty, it is one of the more accurate medical shows. Everybody who works in the medical field will say that, and they even reference it at some points in the show that, I'm going to go home and watch Grey's Anatomy because it feels like they just copy our life. So there were so many shows of medical type shows that took from this, and they were the first one to use How to Save a Life in one of the medical shows. So like their use of music is up there on like a Guardians of the Galaxy level. Oh, I think it's one of the best. And
it's the best TV show that like used music. They must have like had a ton of money to dump on it for music because they used huge songs. But it was very well done.
Well, they were part of NBC, and NBC probably is, NBC Universal probably had ties and obviously already probably purchased, like radio stations purchased some music. So they probably already paid the residuals.
One of my favorite things is, and I realized how much I hate when they repackage the music in My Fruit Cups, the episode where like they steal everything from the hospital and they play If I Had $1 Million and they're like stealing all the pudding. That's
me, by the way. I do that work all the time.
Oh, it's great. It's like, grab me a butterscotch, buddy. And like if I had $1 million, it just goes to show that a lot of your favorite movies have good soundtracks, and I think a lot of your favorite TV shows, even if they don't have like real music, but the soundtrack of it is good. Like Lost had great music in it, like great. Oh,
Michael Giacchino is incredible in that show.
So I think music plays such a big part in any form of like broadcast media, movies. And they crushed it. But let's get to the top 11.
All right, let's do it. So let's say this, Bill. Are you ready to piss some people off?
Yes. I actually don't like our list.
Awesome. Good way to start. All right, we want to kick us off. Number 11. I'll tee it up. You give us the description.
By the way, I got jobbed out here on the also fun fact behind the scenes. Rossi's like, you take the odds 11, 9, 7, 5, 3, 1. He had to tell me what the odd numbers were. I thought that was hilarious.
Just in case you weren't aware.
They were they were only like 1 or 2 of the episodes that I picked, and they were all the fucking depressing ones.
Well, it's just you're going to say the description, then we'll talk about it. I'm not saying you have to break down.
I'm actually kind of glad that we did this because a few of them I hadn't seen in a while until like I would like watch them for the refresher. But number 11 is season 6, episode 14, My No Good Reason. This is where Turk has the smoking hot nanny that turns out to be a racist, horrible person, but she has a great rack. It's the giant collaborative guy lie when they come in and they find like, I'm looking at the cleavage. Elliot and the janitor team up to help the dying patient with the dog. This is kind of like, an okay storyline. But the Dr. Kelso hating Elliot and not talking to her during the episode, pretty good storyline. And it ends kind of nicely. She thanks him for being there. That's pretty good. But this is the Nurse Roberts, Dr. Cox debate on whether everything happens for a reason. And this is another one of those tug at your heartstrings moments from Scrubs. I definitely didn't have this on my list. You must have had this on your list.
And I had it pretty high because this episode, all the things you already mentioned, but there's something about the Dr. Cox, Laverne conversations.
A little girl gets stabbed in the stomach, and they
Yes.
find out there's a tumor right there. This is what Scrubs did a little too much, and an episode that didn't make mine, I forget what it's called, but it's the steak night episode. That one made me cry like a baby. This one, I never really liked Nurse Roberts besides the above ground pool party references and the face cake.
Oh, come on, honey.
Yeah, she was okay. She's not making anybody's top list of side characters.
No, but I just thought the whole thing with how Dr. Cox, like, things just happen. There's no reason for any of this. Then, yeah, like you said, there's a child that gets stabbed. They find out there's a tumor. They save the life. At the end of the episode, you find out Nurse Roberts, Laverne, whatever you want to call it, what does she have? Like a brain disease, or I forget what happens. But basically, this is the death of her character. And then
except they bring her back with Laverne again.
That was that's a whole
ridiculous.
That's like Family Guy-esque. Like, she's
I'm
dead.
Call you Laverne again.
Yeah.
No. that was one of those odd things that didn't work out.
No, but it was still funny, and they didn't overuse it either. But but that's our number 11. No good reason. Number 10.
She was hit by a drunk driver. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right. And it was at the end, like when she's leaving. That's right. Yeah. Number 10. This was high on my list as well. I don't think you had this on your list. It's My Porcelain God. This is
Dr. Kevin Casey. Michael J. Fox.
Season 3, episode 13. My Porcelain God is Dr. Kevin Casey struggles to sit on the empathy toilet.
Epiphany.
I'm sorry, Epiphany. Why did empathy? I can't read either, Bill. You've already listed that. But he's upset because JD's upset because Turk chooses his brother to be his best man. Which
he really didn't, but it's a whole other story.
But that's part of the story. Elliot learns that Dr. Casey's reputation for helping people and tries to get his advice, and he just avoids her the whole time. And this obviously going back to the Epiphany toilet that is all set up by the janitor up on the roof, and everybody's like trying to go up there, and eventually Dr. Casey gets up there, and it's just a really funny scene at the end when he's just crapping on it. Like, he just has
a great little arc for him in this show. What is it? Can't lick it. I can't even sit on it. He is a great character, and it was a great use of him after he had his Parkinson's, because they give him the OCD. And believe me, I am a little OCD myself. I do a lot of weird things all the time. So I get that.
Care to share?
I don't have to touch every corner of the room or like bink, 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 everything in a room like he does to start his day in his first patient's room. But it was a great use of him, and he eventually winds up saving Elliot with her problem by having somebody medevac into the top of the thing. So it is a nice little way, and it's the first time. Was that the first time he was on TV since having the Parkinson's?
It was. He did an episode of Spin City after he was replaced by Charlie Sheen, but this was his first like guest appearance in a recurring role on television. And it was just, I think that was the part that was part of my favorite, because I just always like Michael J. Fox. Obviously stems from Back to the Future. I just find like he's super likable. The Parkinson thing was kind of like almost as big as like when Ellen came out of the closet. It was like this big to do across the country. Now people have all sorts of issues, and we were like, oh yeah, that guy's got cancer or whatever. But it was such a big thing, and I think him coming back to TV, it was really cool, especially on a show like Scrubs, not even as a major character, and in like a third season. It wasn't like a show launch with Michael J. Fox. He was just like a side character for 4 episodes, maybe, in the middle of season 3.
So we'll go to number 9 now, right? Season 1, episode 8, My 15 Minutes. I forget exactly when I started to watch this show, but I think it was around this episode. This is the Holy Inferiority Complex. I'm a sidekick in my own fantasy. Turk and JD save a cameraman on live TV, and Kelso kind of uses it to up the hospital's, like, I don't know, brand by using the black surgeon and like get an EKG. Just a lot of great things, but this to me will always be remembered as the Sanford and Sons episode where they do the and they like the and they start like going crazy. A lot of good stuff with JD and Turk in the apartment. Probably my favorite moment of all time is why is there a pancake in the silverware drawer? You mean why is there silverware in the pancake drawer? But this is probably my second favorite apartment moment between the two of them. What else?
Is the other one referenced in later episode, or?
No, the silverware in the pancake drawer I don't think is in any of the.
No. You said it's your second favorite.
No, that's my favorite. The silverware in the pancake drawer. Oh, this is my second favorite moment. JD also does the wrestling promo that's used later in the clip show, which is great, and that's when you really learn that like they were going to get outside of the box in this show. And then You find out, like, Dr. Cox makes JD do his own review, but it's really a test. This is kind of where, like, Dr. Cox is a little bit too much of a prick. And, like, I wouldn't have known that he was making me better by reviewing myself. Then at the end, you kind of find out that he really loves him. He gives that heartfelt thing to, like, the actual board when JD's not there. Like, this guy really cares. And you see this come out in a lot of episodes. Usually when JD's not around, how much he actually does like JD, how much he does care about JD. So, again, a little heartstring tugging here. But, decent number 9.
Decent number 9. The way to sell. I'll come in. Number 8 is My Jiggly Ball. By the way, one of my favorite titles of episodes. But this is due to what season is this one? That is season 5, episode 4. This is what you noted. My arm's not doing this.
Oh my god! Because my arm's not doing this. The janitor tricks him into this because he has to know everything. I'm pretty smart. I'm a doctor, but the jiggly ball thing, the whole hospital like convinces him that this is like a real thing, and then he burns Laverne with the armpit thing, like the threat level is like orange in her armpits, and then they go outside, they play jiggly ball, and then anybody who caught a jiggle rebound step up to the death line, and she just fucking plants them.
She just crushes them. The other part, the major, I guess, story behind this one was when Dr. Kelso shuts down the prenatal side of the business due to budget constraints, and so there was like,
and they kill the old black man, which is so sad.
Yes, because they basically have 2 patients. There's one that's wealthy and one that's poor, and it kind of goes. Dr. Cox has the wealthy patient, then there's an unfortunate person who doesn't have money, and I think Dr. Kelso at one point says something to the degree of like, due to budgetary constraints, the baby mobile is shutting off, and so if you're going to
knock up a girl, I'm just doing it this weekend.
It's great. Dr. Kelso with the sly, just burn lines like Dick Boss. Great stuff. So yeah, number 8, My Jiggly Ball.
And this is also where he goes outside and he's like shaking the girl's hand in the hospital, and then like Cox is looking for him and he's pretending like, I can see you. You're a human person there. So am I next?
You're next.
Again, another heartstring puller. This was number 1 after I looked at the lists. This was number 1 on a lot of lists, the My Lunch, where Jill Tracy, they find her in the, JD's trying to get lunch with Dr. Cox the whole time. And eventually at the end, you figure out why they finally do. And this is, again, why he loves JD so much. But Jill Tracy, they think she ODs, but she really has rabies. And there's 3 patients looking for a transplant. I mean, I think, I forget what the other 2 are, but like the old guy who didn't really need it right away, or like, not old, maybe like in his 50s, needed a new kidney. They get all the organs from this girl. She has rabies. They all fail. JD thinks he killed the girl, but turns out she has rabies, so he's fine. But Dr. Cox gave them the transplants too early. They all die, and he goes off the fucking reservation.
Loses it.
But it's really just such an emotional episode.
It is, and I think that's one of my favorite things. I definitely love like the emotional ties with this show because there's so much comedy. I just love Nicole Sullivan as Jill Tracy in this show. Like she was suicidal in previous seasons. This time, they find her. I think they're at like a 7-Eleven or like a Whole Foods-ish type of
they're
place.
Like in sandwiches at like a Whole Foods.
Yeah, and the way she like walks up, there's just the way the scene's shot, like slow motion. They're like, oh crap. And I also just love the cutscene of when Dr. Cox is like, "Did you follow me here?" He's like, "Yeah, I followed you here."
Eagle! I think that's the first. That might be the first eagle.
Ooh, I don't know that. I definitely won't know that. And if Lefty in the chat knows that one, my hat is absolutely off to that guy. But that scene cracks me up every freaking time. It is one of the best JD cuts because it's so quick because you knew something was going to be there. But the way he did that on top of his car, all out eagle. Oh, great. Love it.
And even when like they arrest him for shoplifting, it's the second best like sight like poster gag when they just have him like a shoplifter and it's his picture. My favorite one is old gay like Dex, and it's a picture of JT when they take him to Las Vegas to get married by all the queens. But I don't think that's in any of it's not on our list, but that's a great moment. This one is just so sad. I don't even think this made my list because I don't love the sad episodes. I really don't.
I think for me, the show had such a great balance that this was like one of those episodes that got me, like actually made me actually feel something, not just laughter. So it always stood out to me. All right, so now we jump in to number 7. Don't worry, Bill, we won't cry during this one. This is actually a really hilarious one. My interpretation, this is the 20th episode of season 2. This is where Amy Smart's character, her husband Jack, dies. But I know that's not necessarily funny, but JD is still has sex with her.
This might have been my 1 or 2.
This was high for you, and this was lower on the end for me. But the problems communicating with a German patient, JD has those problems. And then when he finds out his patient has cancer, Dr. Cox, this is when he has to look after his baby that Jordan forces him to do, finally forces him to watch their son. And Turk, this is one of my favorite, the whole way how awkward this was. Turk has a sex dream about Elliot. And by the way, Elliot in those scenes,
oh my God, unbelievable. Elliot has some underrated, super hot moments. She got way hotter as the seasons went on, but this was as hot as she looked early on because they really did her up.
Yes.
Beautiful woman, Sarah Chalk. And now she's involved with, she's the mother from Rick and Morty. But so many great things in this episode. JD having sex with the tasty coma wife at the funeral. And then the dancing with the German patient to communicate better with him and the 99 Luft balloons. Then he goes into dinner with the dead, tasty coma wife. Who is that actress? I never find her that attractive.
Are you talking about Amy Smart?
Amy Smart. I never find her that attractive.
So you know what she is? If you ever seen Road Trip?
Yeah.
So she has a nudie scene there. So I think that's what sparked her.
Whatever.
But she is as averagely beautiful, and I don't mean that to be offensive. She's also great. I think she's just a funny actress. She was in Road Trip. She was in Just Friends. She was excellent in both of those. So I think that's where kind of, she played well in this show too, especially her freaking husband dies and she has sex with JD, which is fantastic.
But she has sex with him, and then he goes in and crashes the dinner with the parents at the end. And he's like, how can I get out of this? And then they just all dance to 99 Luft balloons. That is one of the forever best scenes of Scrubs is the dancing with the red balloons. Just a great use of music, just a great use of that Family Guy cutaway-esque humor. And they were doing this before Family Guy.
Oh, yeah. This was, it was the same time, I think, technically.
But I think they were on first, right?
Technically, Family Guy, this is a really weird stat. Family Guy debuted in 1998 because it was, I was watching a Super Bowl. It was the Broncos Falcons, which feels like forever ago, literally forever ago. It said, after this night, the debut of Family Guy. Pat Summerall saying it. I'm like, anyways. So let's jump in. I think this is probably my favorite episode, but Bill, why don't you take us with number 5?
Number 5 is my musical. I just watched this one 5 minutes ago, right before the podcast. We're 45 minutes in now, but it is a great friggin' episode. They do such a great job in completely transforming this into a musical. The woman falls down and everything she hears starts to be a musical. Some standout musical numbers. Everything comes down to Pooh. Welcome to Sacred Heart. But I think the ultimate thing, I want to do karaoke with somebody, and I think I just found my guy in Lefty in the chat because I guarantee you he'll know every single word to Guy Love. And I just ask that I get to be the JD part of it because it's Guy Love between two guys. Let's face the facts about me and you. Oh, it's just
the simplicity of there's nothing gay about it. And then,
in our eyes.
Yeah, and then he's like, with JD, you're the only man spent inside of
me. Wait. There's no need to clarify. Oh no. I know every word to it. It's a little bit of an emotional episode as they bring her to get brain surgery at the end, but just a great use of music. As Lefty points out, Carla can't sing for crap when they do the I'm Dominican thing.
Oh yeah, that was weird.
But that is one of my favorite running jokes, and I did have a Spanish girlfriend at one point, and I would call her every ethnicity besides the one she was, and it was a good running gag. So
I'm sure she liked that. I'm sure she really liked that. But I will say, I think that was the smart part about this episode. There was teases of the musical coming out from TV Guide because I used to be huge. This was my time watching a lot of TV, and I'm really like,
you Frank Costanza. You collected TV Guides.
I sure did. Please, you ever hear Kevin, my former roommate? Me and Billy never actually lived together, but we lived in the same apartment. But I used to have a stack of all my magazines. I would keep them all. He would get so mad. He'd be like, just throw those out. And I'm like, no, dude, I never might go back and want to read that. They're gone now. But
you need the Al Roker one.
But the one that I just found funny about how they did this was, like you said, the woman had the brain issue, and that's why this wasn't actually happening, and it was just the way it was playing out in her head. And I just thought that was wonderfully done for this show.
Very creative. Bill Lawrence was great. Bill Lawrence actually, and birthday boy Mac hopped in the chat, said one of his favorite things about the show is music and Carla. Mm-hmm. Carla can't sing, and Bill Lawrence hated her, and that's why I think he drove her off the show.
Oh, I read a little bit more about it that they didn't see eye to eye, and she wanted to leave the show years earlier. That was another big part. She didn't want to continue on.
I will agree with Lefty in the chat. She was one of the out of the main characters. After like the first 2 seasons, she kind of lost her hotness a little bit. Lost that fastball.
But then she brought it back. She brought it back at the end, if you remember.
I don't really think so.
Towards the end, when they were on that vacation episode, when she back.
Okay, a little bit. But every episode, she was just in a fight with Turk. It's like, come on.
Yeah, she kind of became she was always helping Elliot and fighting with Turk. That was literally it in calming down JD, calling him Bambi 500 times. But
hey, now I think my number 1 is next on the list.
So this one coming in at number 4, season 6, episode 9, 6-9. That's my perspective. It is Elliot and Turk have to look after JD when he is diagnosed with a rare disease, which
Vasovagal P.
Thank you. I would never remember that. And
I've seen this episode maybe 100 times.
Every time he's going to poop, he passes out, which is just, it's ridiculous. The thing that's funny about this episode too is they never make it like serious. Like that's a serious ass condition when you think about it, but they always keep it like the janitor didn't he like tape him to the ceiling? Or
yes, at the end. So he goes away on a janitorial cruise. Schneider from One Day at a Time was going to be there signing work boots. But he like goes on, and he's like, I say this now because you've probably stopped paying attention. I paid Todd and Ted $20 to tape you to the ceiling. And it's basically The Boy Who Cried Wolf. So 3 times during the episode, like the janitor like tricks him into like, he gets like a SUI scooting under the influence. Just so many great things in this episode. Turk battles with Milos, the war-torn surgeon. This is the funniest episode, I think, in all of Scrubs. JD goes out with Elliot and tells her all his problems, and he gets drunk off of Appletinis. Another thing I love about JD, he drinks Appletinis. And he's like, JD, I can always tell when you're drunk because you get super handsy. And then he's just like feeling his own nipples. He's like, oh, look, I'm smuggling raisins. Another one of my favorite guests is when he's driving his scooter down the street and he hears Billy Ocean. And it's like, Billy, after the Indian Pacific, favorite ocean. This has the best, like, overall funny vibe of any of the episodes, I think.
And I think it has every character has something funny about her. You were just kind of crapping on Carla, but I actually like this episode because this is where she starts using the I have a baby excuse for everything. Yeah. For everything. And I think that's like the funny thing because for the whole time before this episode, she never wanted to use that. Oh, I can be that mother, I can work. And then for every little thing she starts using it. So I think
this is the one
you might be right.
He starts the fight with Buzz and Donna from across the street because his dingle won't work and Donna's barren, so they have to go to the marriage concert. That's when he sneaks in to take a toozy and he takes his pants off because man is the only animal who wears pants during toozies.
It's true. He's right. All right, so now we get to number 3.
Number 3, that's me. Sorry. Number 3 is my screw up. And this one, I think, is the most critically acclaimed one. This is the one that everybody pans as the best episode of Scrubs, I think, universally. Again, I'm not a super big fan of the sentimental episodes.
You really did get all the sad ones.
I did. I got all of them. But I do like the use of Brendan Fraser in this one. He's apparently they have a huge family. They have, the sister and they have the brother here. Him and Dr. Cox are really good friends. He goes to get a cancer screening after he was in one of the earlier episodes. Turns out he dies right away in the episode.
Spoiler.
You don't know that. And Dr. Cox blames JD for the death of another patient, but he's really just doing that to block himself out from the death of Ben. And then at the end, you realize Ben's dead. He's been dead the whole time. Dr. Cox thinks he's going to his son's birthday party, but it's really Ben's funeral. And that totally fucks him up for a while.
That's there's 2 times it gets messed up, and we brought him both up in this, the Jill episode where he goes on a bender, and that's with the beard and stuff, and obviously this. But the scene where they're taking pictures and stuff, and if you watch the episode back after knowing now, if you've watched this episode again, you can tell no one else interacts with him at all. So it is really sad though at the end when he's in the suit and everything, and then he's like, "All right, let's go, have some cake or something." He goes, Where do you think you are?
Yeah, that's the big line.
Even saying it again, I remember. And it's I'm at my son's birthday. He's like, no. And he's like, I died and all that stuff. And he's just and then he's numb and he's just there. And it's It's such a well-written episode. There's episodes like this in almost every show, but very few have done it this well, especially with such like Brandon Fraser, such a side character and not a big part of the show that I think makes it better, where you didn't just lose like a major part of the show. It just was a pivotal point for one of your favorite characters.
Yeah, they built it up well, so it meant a lot. Scrubs did a really good job with these episodes. As I said, Steak Night made me cry like a little baby. This one doesn't make me super sentimental, just because this might have been one of the first ones I watched. I forget when I started watching Scrubs. I just remember the first one I ever saw was Dr. Kelso as the gorilla on Halloween, like knocked the thing out. But a lot of great sentimental episodes. I think this is panned as the overall best one, but I think Scrubs does such a better job of being an all-out comedy at times. Like they did like that Cheers episode one that also was super sad with a writer from Cheers that like comes into the hospital. But I like my sitcoms to be funny. I'm sorry.
That's why they're sitcoms. Yeah, like Seinfeld's always funny. Very rarely had a sad episode. I think there was
when
one.
They killed off one of the main characters, they fucking went to go get coffee after.
Oh yeah, that was the thing, and especially like I still was always tormented when George's fiance died from licking envelopes, and to this day I've never licked an envelope. But
I still don't buy that.
That I haven't.
Yeah,
I sent every wedding invitation of ours by doing this or doing I spit on my finger and I wipe. It's weird. I'm weird. Moving on. Before we get into our top two, we will recap, but let's do a few more honorable mentions, Bill. Just briefly on these. On the last three would be season 4, episode 11, My Unicorn. This is the Chandler.
I found your son. That's a great one. The Dream Journal with the unicorn and the really handsome older father. And their what's his name? Chandler's like a fucking. What are those things called where you like land the planes? I don't know. Like a tiny little airport.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But yes, he's one of those. Another one is season 2, episode 2. Spoiler: we're going to get another season 2 early episode coming up. This is My Nightingale. This is the best with the Ted band. This is like the beginning.
This is the debut
band.
of the Ted band.
Yes. And also, this is when JD and crew. I think this is the episode you were referring about earlier when they run the hospital and they draft Doug.
No. This is where they like all the like the main guys are away for the night, and I think a cop is brought to the hospital, and they have to like either make a decision or like wait. And if they use a lot of good like songs from Ted to put it along, and it ends with Charles in Charge as them walking off into the sunset. A very good sentimental episode. The next one is My White Whale, which another one of my favorite. Like Sean was a pretty good character in this thing. He kind of drove the story forward between JD and Elliot. But I just remember this one for the kick him in the crotch and run, and the Turk the dome wax. It's not like a all-time great episode, but there are some good moments. Again, kick him in the crotch and run. I still use that to this day. That is an episode that I think I have to go back and watch. But I just like how 2 of those, and they were episode 2, season 2, episode 3, season 3. Maybe there's something. Yeah, they had a lot of good early episodes. Like their early season stuff was always very good.
All right, so now we'll get into number 2, and then we'll recap number 2, season 5, episode 9. This is My Half Acre. Number 1 was the highest on my list. I think this was both like right at the top of both.
I think this was 2 for me.
I think this was 3 for me. This is the hair band, Mandy Moore. By the way, Mandy Moore looking fantastic in this. And Dr. Cox not kissing his son. One of the best lines we used for years. Used to be a name of one of our Wi-Fi.
And it was wrong. This crushed me to my soul when I found out. I got your text. Boom City. We thought it was Boom City. And I would send that after, rendezvous every once in a while.
Oh, we would always, that was like the text.
That was the text. But it turned out to be Bone City. And it was so disappointing.
It really... To this day, I don't believe it. It's the Berenstain Bears to me. This is my Mandela effect that it will always be Boom City to me because it's so funny. And that was the one thing with the roommates, like with Gillette or Kevin or I, if we were having our girlfriends at the time or randos, girlfriends, if we were had them over, you just text Boom City and people just knew, go in the house, be quiet, get your food, go in your room. It was just so funny. And then when it was like closed caption, we had to find out or something too.
It killed me. It really hurt. But this is the one with the air banding. This is the one with the dancing. This is the one with the poison and Turk dancing like crazy. Oh, Hoff in the chat. I hope Tasty Coleman wife was mentioned. She sure hell was one of the better episodes. I think I had that ranked super high on mine.
Yeah, you can recap that in the replay.
But I can do this one and the vasovagal syncope episode. I can do this in my brain from scratch with Todd auditioning. This is the drum solo to start with Lloyd, and then Todd dancing to Loverboy. Thanks for coming to the audition in costume. God. And he's like, what costume? And then Turk gets up there, absolutely rocks it. Mandy Moore is the klutz. Just so many great things in this episode. This is my second favorite Scrubs episode of all time because it's just an all-out comedy episode. They end it with the Boston
a More Than a Feeling.
More Than a Feeling. Everything about this episode is an absolutely perfect use of everyone. Dr. Cox, you said, won't kiss his son. They have Mrs. Wilk in there, who's one of the great. She's probably the best patient they've ever had. That was like a main character.
Older woman, yeah.
She had a pretty good arc on there. That was another side episode when she dies.
I know.
So this episode, to me, that I think this, for us, this should have been number one. But I think because of the way we did our lists, it didn't wind up being number one.
And this also could be number one. But the only thing that also, like, Elliot in this was also fantastic because obviously her and JD, like, when they weren't together, still, like, had a lot of emotion for each other. But she's actually assisting him the whole time on how not to screw up the relationship with the klutz, which I think is also
going to be dating your laptop again. And this is where we get another great eagle where she bets him $20 that'll blow it. And then Mandy Moore walks right out and he goes, I bet you I can jump from the counter to the couch for $20. Check it. Eagle. And he falls flat.
Not even close. Just fall down.
So quick side note, when I roofed, like I hated it. It took forever. It was the worst labor you could ever do in your entire life. So what I would do instead of like listening to music, I would rip episodes of TV and listen to TV in my earphones the whole time. And this was one of the main episodes that I would listen to all the time. So I pretty much know this episode by heart. It's a phenomenal episode. If you've never seen Scrubs, I don't know why you'd be watching this, but if you haven't seen this episode in a while, go watch it tonight. I think it's hands down. It's the best overall episode for everything. Every character has something good in it. Everything, like there's a lot of music in it, obviously, because of the air banding. I think Fountains of Wayne, the Julie, Julie, Julie song is in there, if that's Fountains of Wayne.
That I believe it is, and I can find that out.
Working all day for a mean little man. Like, just a phenomenal episode. And another part, like Mandy Moore, I think might have had a 1 or 2 episode arc. They buy the
half acre.
The half acre, which is the name of the episode, and then he puts the porch on it. But she always says, that's so funny. In the next episode,
and never laughs.
And never laughs. And then when he breaks up with her, he goes, you know what's funny? She's not saying that's so sad. She's actually crying. So good.
She was a great character. And I also like in this episode, the one thing Scrubs always did, and I feel like that you just don't see on TV anymore, was like the sexy intro where like she opens the door, wind blowing, like everybody watch it.
That's another thing. They had great, like little, like the Seinfeld, like they had great little, like sexy music.
Like the sexy lady. When Heather Locklear I think that's the second season
Doctor.
when she comes in.
And that's the thing. They change it on Hulu now. It's like some weird ass like thing.
It was just like
use. It's awesome.
Yeah, it was just like a generic, no trademark song. So all right, before we get to our number one, quickly recapping: number 11, My No Good Reason; number 10, My Porcelain God; number 9, My 15 Minutes; number 8, My Jiggly Ball. Best name. Number 7, My Lunch. Number 6, My Interpretation. Number 5, My Musical. Number 4, My Perspective. Number 3, My Screw Up. Number 2, My Half Acre. And Billy, take us home with number 1.
Quick aside, I didn't know for a while that like it was the Friends, This Is the One, that everyone was my ... But number 1.
Wait, before you say that, I just want to tell you one other thing. Other shows that did stuff like this, a lot of shows did this. Yeah, there was obviously Friends Made Famous. Smallville, every episode is one word. Just one
I like
word.
That. I like that.
So that was a big part.
It's like a Disney movie.
Basically.
Cars.
Not the
Frozen.
Cars, just Cars. Yes. But there was one other show I just dropped out of my head that did something similar. Other shows tried to. One show, I forget what it was, didn't last. It wasn't that 80s show, but something like that. That the show season was a sentence. Like if you were to put all the titles together.
Oh, I think Breaking Bad did that. Or Breaking Bad had something in each of the titles. Community, each one was like a class. Like
like
basic Lupin. Yeah.
Yes.
So everyone was a class. So that was pretty cool. Our number one, I really feel like it should have been number two should have been number one, but everything comes down to poo. It's My Overkill, season 2, episode 1. This one really stood out when you first watched it because it had what the fuck is the guy's name? I wrote it down somewhere. Colin Hay with the overkill. Just a great use of that where you don't know if it's in JD's head or not, and it is by the end of the episode. But so many good things in this one. This is like the cliffhanger ending of season 1 where you find out Dr. Cox likes Carla. It makes jealous that JD slept with Jordan, and Dr. Cox is furious. Just a great episode.
Jordan lit everybody up in the final. And it was on my list. The season 1 finale.
It was really good.
She just shows up and just like, oh, just so you know, not Dr. Cox. She calls him by his first name. And all of a sudden, I can't remember. I know it's female-ish. Perry, likes Carla.
Percival.
Blondie has feelings for JD. Turk. Carlos too scared to tell you this.
Jordan had some great moments.
And then she hits like, and me and what does she call JD? We'll just call me and Pansy over here had sex, and was it good? And it's just like, and then she walks off, season ends, and you're like, oh my God, the tension that you're feeling. And I just thought they did such a great job coming out of that season to come out with this episode.
A fantastic episode, though. The ending with Colin Hay playing the guitar and then like Dr. Cox taking it and just smashed it. And then you realize that doesn't happen. I really feel like, oh man, the airbending episode should have been one. And I know I'm shitting on our own list.
All right, we're still talking about one.
I know. This is a great episode. It really is fantastic. I went back and watched it last night. It still holds up. It's still really funny. The only thing about this episode, Carla's super fucking annoying in this episode. She's just the most aggravating girlfriend that you could have. She's just, all over Turk. And Turk is probably, if I were, we didn't talk about the janitor enough in this list either, but he had some great moments. He wasn't really featured too heavily in this one, but Turk's probably, I think, my favorite overall character, and he gets killed by Carla in every episode, especially this one.
Well, he basically plays his character that he wasn't Clueless. Like, Bill Lawrence must have loved Clueless because he just plays like the idiot boyfriend that gets crapped on the whole time. He's a goof. He's an idiot. And but also as the show evolves, he becomes much more integral with his doubt for what he does for a living and stuff. But I think this episode, the reason this episode might be number 1 for us combining all of our lists is because, well, factually numbers. 2, because I think shows like this don't usually keep going and have this much heart and character, and that's why I think this episode proved for what the show went with. I know we talked a lot about sad stuff, and I think this episode had everything. It was paying off a lot of drama, it was leading to more stuff, and I think that's what it was. And just getting JD as like a lead character and some of his monologues, the monologue in this one, and just his insecurity and his anxiety and stuff that was going on with him was just so different for a show, especially to kick off a second season.
Unfortunately, for a lot of things, JD is probably one of my more relatable characters in television history.
Oh yeah,
just a very he's not obviously Ted Mosby's kind of a shitty character by the end. JD I think gets better as the seasons go on, and you can just see yourself a lot in JD. The fact that he was skinny to start, got a little doughy, and then got back into shape. I feel that.
Pulling a Mac from Always Sunny. But I think that's what I was going to ask. So we have just 3 questions before we wrap up. We'll go over some comments too. Right here, Lefty with this one. I actually did read this. It says, fun fact, no one interacts with Janitor in season 1 because originally he was going to be in JD's head. But season 2, they decided he should be more involved. I read something
great call
about
by the
that.
way.
And if you watch, I think there was a few interactions with him, actually. No, you're right. Nobody but JD interacts with him, which I think he walks by somebody and they don't. There's a scene that they show. There's a YouTube video that proves this. That he hits somebody or something, but they just keep moving and he moves. It's something out there, but good fun fact. So Bill, I guess JD being the most relatable, who's your favorite character on the show?
Oh man, Kelso has so many good moments. The janitor has so many good moments. I think it's got to be this is a really hard question. I do love this show, obviously. It didn't go any higher. It's still a top 5 sitcom for me.
We'll get to that in a minute.
Fudge, man. Fudge.
All right, I'll step in. For me, it's Ted. Ted always...
Really, Ted?
Every time I saw him, I just laughed. Maybe it's just the way he looked. It was balding and just his demeanor. Every time he was on the show, especially even later when he had the girlfriend and the wife with the ukulele, who's also a lady, and she's in a band called Garfunkel and Oates, which is really funny. They're a comedy band, which you should check them out if you're bored. Next time you're pooping, and hopefully you don't pass out. I just found Ted always good. Never had a bad scene, and every time I saw him, I just really enjoyed him. He was in enough of the show that I think I can put him as my favorite character.
I think, gun to my head,
yep,
probably Kelso. He had so many good moments, so many good lines. He's such a dick. I use this line to this day to so many people. Today is work. It's not bring your problems to work day. It's just work day. So many classic lines, but I think I'd have to do tiers. I think I'd probably do Turk.
There's no tiers.
No. I'm doing tiers. I'm doing the top tier.
All right, just give me your top characters then. Don't need all your tiers. Just give me.
I'll give you the top tier. It's Turk, Kelso, and Janitor.
Perfect. And JD, what, right below that?
Right below that in the subset of like Elliot and like, I forget. I'll make a full list. I'll
there you go. Tweet it at the PopCulture PD. All right. So what would you say? Well, I guess where would you rank Scrubs all time for your comedies? You said top 5. So what's ahead of it for you?
So Psych, Seinfeld, Community, and then probably this. Scrubs
so
probably 4. Community just has more great episodes.
Sure.
Scrubs has more good episodes. The slugging percentage is higher on Community, but the average is higher on Scrubs. And they both have seasons that you just fucking throw in the garbage.
Yep.
But Community only had 6. Scrubs had
9.
They both kind of did step out of the box more than almost any other sitcom early on. Scrubs was really good at this, doing the spoof episodes or just like sprinkling in the flashback scenes without it being like Family Guy. There was always a reason to have the flashback. It wasn't just some weird thing. They also did some crazy ass shit that worked. I remember they had Jason Bateman in an episode where the guy fucking owned ostriches and it fucking kicked them through windows.
Piece of crap out of JD.
Just so many good things. Face cake, floating head doctor. Just so many random things.
It was just wacky, funny. It almost felt like a college project turned into a major television show.
And then like the old MC bust a move. Just that whole thing where Elizabeth Banks was in every single sitcom at some time during the early 2000s. Her character was great. Just not on the level of a Parks and Rec universe, but the universe they created with all the side characters, very good. I always love when a TV show does that and kind of steps outside of the box and does these weird, wacky things. So
for me, I would agree with Lefty. I was just going to say, for me, I think How I Met Your Mother might be my favorite all-time half-hour comedy for me.
Puke.
It's my list. I didn't say anything about your list. It's one of I don't like the ending. Don't get me wrong. I don't like the whole last season much, but I think it's one of the best written and storyline arc shows that there's ever been. Like that.
Don't get me wrong. I love How I Met Your Mother. I've seen certain episodes 100 times. The slap bet episode, probably a top 3 television episode of all time.
The best part about the slap bet episode,
it's the Robin Sparkles. It's the Robin Sparkles episode too.
I was just gonna say it's literally the smallest part that you remember, and that's the name of the damn episode. And it is where we find out about the Robin Sparkle in 5 different times.
Let's go to the mall today. That's the one where you find out about the Canadian porn and Barney's going out of his mind. We could definitely do a How I Met Your Mother episode.
Oh, we'll get there.
And
I think for me, that's my number 1.
So poorly. It ended.
Oh, absolutely. Nothing better than changing everything in a 3-minute 10-year or 10-minute 10-year span of a show. But anyways, that's probably going to be my number because I could watch it anytime, any episode. I just love it. Scrubs is up there for me. I think once the show ended, I was rewatching it then. Recently, haven't gone back to it as much. So for me, it's obviously Seinfeld. It's hard. It's definitely a top 5 for me, though. I think it's just you sit down and you start rethinking. Always Sunny is up there for me as well. I think it's just too damn good of a show and so smart. And I don't cartoons in there, but obviously
if we were counting cartoons, I actually hate Family Guy after like season 4. I don't think it really had many great episodes. Like Archer's up there for me as an all-time like TV sitcom.
Genius show.
That was great. Rick and Morty. Season 4 is fucking terrible, or season 5, or whatever the fuck it is.
Good to know. I just rewatched season 1 over. I still never seen season 2. I can't get over
season 2 season 1, 2, and 3, amazing. I think it's in 4 or 5 now. I fucking forget. I think it's 4. Well, but like they're just trying. It's Dan Harmon just being a dick. Like the episodes have like good parts, but like I'm not like super enjoying it.
Sure. All right, then to wrap up, Bill, what do you think Scrubs' legacy is?
It's probably the musical. As like its overall, I think it was really well done. maybe the character of JD. He's been referenced in a few sitcoms. He's referenced in Community, actually. But the overall legacy, the use of music in JD, probably.
Boom. That's what I was going to say. I think the use of music in this show sparked what so many shows did thereafter. But this show used more music, more popular music, more commercial music, more music stars. Like we said earlier, the Tom Petty American Girl was not only in a pivotal episode, and the growth of Elliot as a character was also the name of the episode. I think Bill Lawrence, the creators, I think there was another guy who's heavily involved with the show who really was a big part of the music behind the show. They just did such an excellent job of just capturing music and of all different genres. Like you said, we did the Sanford and Sons. I know that's not like music, but that's one of the most famous.
TV themes and music. Ask Back and Goo. They won't talk about it anymore.
But I would say use of that from, More Than a Feeling, the hair band, the jam band, the air band, like all that stuff. And like you said, like How to Save a Life is known as this big, huge song from.
They used it to a T. That moment in the My Lunch, I think it was, gave me chills. And you could see how fucking expensive it is because they replaced it once they went into syndication, because it's ridiculous to use all that licensed music. I mean, they didn't use the Beatles, but they used legit bands. That costs a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
So you don't see TV shows breaking it out. They would break it out like every other episode. They would use a legit song.
And think about it, their theme song, fun fact about that too.
I can't do this on my own.
I can't do this all on my own.
And did you notice how in season 2 they tried to change the intro and then they went right back to the original one?
And they still play that on Hulu, like the first 2 or 3 episodes. It's longer and it's different. And just so you know, Sean Mullins, who is known for Rockabye, or it's actually called Lullaby, oddly enough, but he actually had a song that was supposed to be the theme for Scrubs. I forget Is It All in My Head? Is it all in my head? And I interviewed him years in past life, and he said that was a song in 2000 that was literally signed papers, everything was going to be the theme for Scrubs. So he had to reconstruct the song to make it like 6 seconds or however long that intro is for Scrubs. I think it's like 10. And they ended up not using it, and he was kind of just disappointed by that. But I just think the use of that song makes it even better because it's a song you don't know anywhere else but that show, and it just kind of is a catalyst for how well music was incorporated with the show. So that is absolutely, I think, the legacy of Scrubs. The goofiness, but also I know this is kind of strange, but I think it's also like a black and a white friend being like best buds on television. You didn't see that.
That's a better. I mean, I always say this, and nobody believes me, but for everybody watching, all 4 of you, go and watch Psych. If you liked this show, if you like Scrubs, you will love Psych because it is the best black and white friendship. It's the black and white cookie from Seinfeld. Ooh. It is the best friendship of all time in any TV or movie. It literally is the best.
Better than Lethal Weapon?
Yes, it is 8 seasons of glory.
Danny Glover?
Go watch Psych. So you've never seen The Office, right?
I've never watched an episode of The Office. I've watched very little Psych.
Okay,
but I've never seen a single episode of it.
So Psych is a huge undertaking. The Office you could probably knock out, obviously, during this quarantine. Kevin just brought up The Office in the chat. I think one of our episodes upcoming should be your thoughts on The Office when you finally watch it. You only have to watch. I'll only make you watch till season 5 because after season 6, I don't even care.
Yeah. I don't know if I could watch them all, but if I get like a select bunch of episodes, a lot of people tell me it's called like The Dinner Party.
Oh my God. But you need so much background to
that's the thing I don't know. So actually, you know what? I know we used to work over at WEI. Lucy used to always try to pepper me to watch.
Let's get Lucy and Keith on an episode.
They both. She used to tell me all the time, be like, "You gotta watch The Office." So maybe we could do like a season by season review of the show featuring some other people because it's an undertaking to watch all 5. But I think I could watch maybe one season, write down like my favorite stuff.
We don't have to. You can watch. We can do 1 and 2 as one because one's like 6 episodes and one's not that good.
Okay. Well, anyways, that's Scrubs. I think, honestly, the legacy of the show, music-wise, we had a solid list. Go back, rewatch it. We'll definitely be posting stuff about it. Don't forget, again, subscribe. If you're on the YouTube channel, if you're watching us right now, hit subscribe. It would go a long way to help us. Hit the like button. Please share this with your friends when this is all posted up. And just don't forget, subscribe to this on YouTube. Subscribe to our podcast. Search PopCulture PileDriver on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. We're out there, baby, and we're making things happen. We're going to get more content coming coming at you, more episodes, but make Tuesday nights around this time, 8 o'clock, will be our weekly episodes with some news, a great topic, and obviously we'll include some wrestling stuff here and there.
I agree. Frank says hi.